2/8s that were allowed to roam. They were kind of half 10s as well. They went and joined in and got their bodies around Ronaldo. And Norwich actually contained well. They contained. Rashica would then and Pukki would then stretch the play. That would leave a lovely pocket of space for Kieran Dowell, Pierre Lees-Malou, Kenny McLean, if he joined in the attack, to go and gallop into. And that gave them a chance to sustain, not just build attacks, which we've seen them do, I think, at portions of the season, but also sustain them, look dangerous with them. And from actually what I saw against Burnley on Sunday, I saw a lot of that today in terms of the counter-attacking and the going forward elements and how they attack teams. And that was all very positive and well structured, and it worked nicely. Rashica and Dowell is a nice balance to have, because, as I said, you've got Rashica, who is a ball carrier, wants to get Norwich up the pitch, but if he's not on the ball and carrying the ball forward, he's on the shoulder and he's stretching, and he's forcing defenders to retreat. And that leaves a lovely bit of space for Kieran Dowell to kind of roam into and float into, to then get on the ball, to make things happen. And what to say about him? 1 goal, 1 assist this afternoon, another excellent showing. And actually, I think if you look at the team that Norwich City played, if that would have maybe played the 90 minutes, who knows? Maybe this result would have panned out a little bit differently. But they did look like they were carrying tired legs at the end. We've got to mention really the first 2 goals that Norwich gifted Manchester United. The first one is an appalling error by Ben Gibson. Kind of flashbacks to that Brentford game a few weeks ago, where he made a pretty catastrophic mistake and then gave away a penalty. Today it was a catastrophic mistake, and Ronaldo got a run on him and maybe showed the pitfalls of man marking almost for the second goal. He's quite clever in the way that he runs and moves. Ronaldo, he uses his elbows a lot. He's got that wonderful leap on him, and Gibson wasn't quite able to deal with that for the second goal. But for the first goal, he's in possession of the ball. He should be doing a lot better. And it's one of those very simplistic. If there's nothing on, if there's not a pass on, Alanga's the man closing him down. Just clip it into the channel, relieve the pressure, get up the pitch, reset the defensive shape. He didn't do that. Instead, he kind of hesitated. That allowed Alanga an opportunity to go and nick possession. He did that. He squared for Ronaldo 1-0. And I think at 2-0, when Ronaldo headed in from the corner, it felt like this could be a long afternoon for Norwich City. And actually, maybe the criticism of Norwich and what they've done this season is that they've collapsed and folded under that pressure too many times. And so the fact that they displayed spirit, and even at 2-0, I was sat there going and saying to Paddy and Chris Lakey, who joined us, and Adam Harvey, who were with us today, I still felt there were opportunities, because Norwich were, in glimpses, bypassing Manchester United's midfield, getting past the press, and there was a lot of space for them to go into. Yanulis on the left-hand side was an out ball in the first half. Pukki was really causing Lindelof and Maguire problems, not just with his running in behind, but also dropping deep and his movement across that back line. And it just felt to me like if Norwich could get a goal before half-time, this game would really open up, and that's what happened. It was Yanulis with a clever inside pass to Pukki. He takes 2 defenders out of the game. I think it was Dalot and one of the midfielders, possibly Fernandes or Lingard. Pukki then runs onto it, and it's brilliant because he looks up. You can see visibly him raise his chin. He spots Kieran Dowell unmarked at the back post. But then to have the quality, and we talk about quality, and Norwich City plays with quality in the final third. There's very few this season that have displayed more of it. In fact, there's no one who's displayed more of it than Teemu Pukki. It's a wonderful cross, and Kieran Dowell is just left to nod past De Gea, who was completely flummoxed and was at the other post. Didn't see Kieran Dowell was scrambling to get across. So a relatively routine header in the end. But then Norwich City come out, and you can sense it in the crowd. As soon as there is an opportunity for Norwich, or there is a moment where they bypass midfield and have a chance, this group of supporters inside this stadium were very quick to turn. And you sense that. You could see it. You could feel it. And Norwich felt it, and they kind of absorbed it and took it on in a positive way, which again isn't something that we've seen too often this season. And the second goal, again, on the counter-attack, Kieran Dowell, exactly what I talk about. Pukki and Rashica stretch the play. Dowell comes closer to try and connect it. He receives the ball, and it's a wonderful pass. And actually, when you consider what Norwich City have lacked this season, they've lost Emi Buendia, they've lost Todd Cantwell, 2 of their most creative presences last year in the Championship. They didn't really affect games from an attacking sense in the same way. They didn't have the technical quality to unlock defences. It's a wonderful pass from Kieran Dowell. He takes 2 Manchester United players out of the game, but Pukki still has a hell of a lot to do. He drives into the area, and instead of going maybe as a striker, from the very limited experience that I have of being a striker, and certainly not to this level, you're always told to put those back across the keeper. And actually, I think he catches De Gea out by kind of shaping his body and going near post. It clips the post and goes into the back of the net. The VAR check that followed was fairly agonising. didn't know. One look, I felt he was offside. Then he was onside, and fortunately, once the lines were drawn, the green line appeared and not the red line. And those Norwich City fans who were in that corner, just there, were sent into raptures. And to be honest, it was nothing less than what Norwich City's performance deserved. But equally, when we talk about Norwich this season, this maybe, in a sense, sums up what they're about, because I remember the reverse fixture, actually, and they played Manchester United. They played really well against Manchester United. Certainly should have taken a point. Argument to say they should have taken 3. They didn't take any. And you kind of walked away from that game thinking, well, if they couldn't extract anything from this game, what games are they going to win, essentially? Today, I think, is slightly different, because actually it's individual errors, I think, that have cost them the game. And they got themselves back into the game. They were looking good value for it. They were defending resolutely. And then the substitutions happen. Gilmour comes on, Dow goes off, McLean goes off, and Przemysław Płacheta comes on as well. Lise Malou later went off as well for Johnny Rowe, who looked a little bit overawed by today, I must admit, but he's a young player, it happens. And they did lose momentum, but in defence of those players who did come on, I'm not necessarily portioning the blame to them. I'm not really portioning the blame to Dean Smith. I felt he got the changes wrong, I'll be honest. But that said, the substitutes haven't touched the ball by the time Norman goes through the back of, might be Ronaldo even, and then Ronaldo strikes the free kick. And in my view, I think, knowing Tim Krul as I do, he will be desperately disappointed that he didn't quite get enough onto that to steer it around the post. There's actually, if you watch it back, he takes a step to one side, and by the time he takes that step, it then becomes very difficult for him to kind of throw himself as far as he needed to his right-hand side to get better contact on it than he did. In the end, he kind of pushes it on the post, and Ronaldo's free kick kisses the inside of the post and goes into the back of the net. And from there, Norwich looked pretty drained. They looked pretty fatigued. They didn't really look like they could impact things. There was Rashica had a chance. There was a nice ball from Billy Gilmour into Rashica. Płacheta was sent through by Rashica as well, but lacked really the technical quality and a willingness to use his left foot in that situation. But kind of just saw him stumble over the ball in the end, and he didn't quite do what he needed to do in that kind of situation. And from there, you're left kind of describing a performance full of heart, but with no points. And, considering, I obviously did one of these at Brighton, and it was about seeing a Norwich City identity. It was about making sure that they bounced into next season, irrespective of what happens now, with performances, with reasons for those fans to be optimistic and to be proud of their Norwich City team that they're seeing on the pitch, to make sure that they aren't considered a laughing stock. Today wasn't that case. We saw the Norwich City fans in attendance all stay to the end and clap every single player off, which their performance absolutely merited. And it's just a shame. I think we're left to ruin individual mistakes again when we talk about Norwich City. And in this division, in those key moments that matter, you have to ensure that you stand up and that you make the right decision in those situations. And actually, maybe minus the corner, although I still feel maybe Ben Gibson could do slightly better. And again, this is kind of where we look at zonal man marking. I actually felt if Norwich have zonal marking in that situation, there's probably someone to block Ronaldo's run, so he doesn't get that run and leap on Gibson. Dean Smith obviously decided to go man-to-man today, and Norwich conceded the goal, obviously. So that is a shame. Some statistics for you. I mean, it won't surprise you to know Norwich actually better than Manchester United on expected goals today, only very marginally, 1.53 to 1.55. That shows the margins for me in the game in open play. Ronaldo has scored from a mistake, from a corner, from a free kick. I think Dean Smith will leave Old Trafford tonight feeling very disappointed that they've been the goals that Norwich City have conceded and that have lost them this game. And to put this into the context of where Norwich City go from here, and I suppose the obvious question of any kind of great escape, it now looks very difficult to see how Norwich City get themselves out of this without winning all of their remaining games. It's only a 7 point, so it's a big 7 point gap to Everton, who play in midweek against Leicester at home, have an opportunity to extend that gap further on Norwich City before, of course, Norwich play again against Newcastle next weekend. Another big game, which who knows if Everton do fall over that Leicester opportunity and Norwich can take 3 points against Newcastle, which certainly isn't beyond the realms from their last two performances, then maybe everyone will be feeling a little bit more optimistic about it. Just in terms of ratings then, Tim Krul, I thought he made a brilliant save from Lingard in the first half, but just feel, I think if you caught him in a quiet moment, he'd feel that he could do slightly better from that free kick. So we're going to give him a 6, Byron a 6 as well. I thought Hanley was very good today. I give him a 7. Gibson, as I mentioned, at fault for the first goal. I think you have to give him a 5. You knew this. I felt showed some good moments. So 6 for him. Norman, probably a 5. I felt some glimpses, but also some cheap concessions in midfield. Kenny McLean, I thought was what he was, and actually heard Dean Smith say after the game that there's a fear of a broken toe for him now, which is a slight concern. So hopefully that's not the case, and we see him next weekend against Newcastle United. But I give him a 6 as well. Rashica, I thought, was full of endeavour, full of running, carried the ball well, a real threat. I give him a 7. Timu Puki an 8, and Kieran Dowell an 8 as well. Just on Timu Puki, I mean, so many wonderful statistics around that man and what he's done since signing for Norwich City. Last week it was his 75th goal, wasn't it, in 150 league games. Now he's become the first Norwich City player ever in the Premier League era to score more than 10 goals in 2 combined campaigns. 20 goals for a Norwich team 2 years ago that finished bottom of the league by quite some stretch, and a Norwich City team that may end up getting relegated again. A free transfer, of course, you have to say that with Timu Puki, but a truly remarkable player. And someone that Norwich City will be absolutely desperate to keep hold of. And of course, they've activated their 1-year option on him as well, as is their right, and as probably we all expected them to do. Right, that was so close and yet so far for Norwich City. Of course, the Pink and Plus app, the place to go for post-match reaction. We've got Dean Smith and his thoughts coming your way. We've got Pierre Lace-Malou and Kieran Dowell for you as well. $1.99 a month, where you can get a free trial. Plenty of excellent content on there, irrespective of maybe the results on the pitch not being great. Give it a go, see if you like it for a month, and then you can commit to whether or not you want to pay. We have a live blog, all sorts around the match cycle as well, which is well worth your time. Right, I'm going to pack up. We're going to head home. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again very